Hi, hello, and welcome to the Lunar Lounge brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene, Priestess Abossi. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the moon in, oh my gosh, the cat. Grant me a moment. Okay, she's in her needy season. Happens every couple months. So if there's noise in the background, that's what it is. I'll address her when I'm done this video. So I'm not quite certain, and I should know as a professional. um, I do know that we have two new moons in the month. So once in a blue moon. A blue moon is when there's two full moons in a given month. And we have two new moons, one at the beginning, one at the end. The other one was in Sagittarius, and this one's in Capricorn. So it's not even the same sign. Sometimes it does happen where there's two moons in the same sign. You hear what I'm saying? And I'm more comfortable in a month where it's not just a double full moon, but also it's like a month with 31 days. It's hard to do the double moon with just a 30-day month. I'm being rather particular. So I will just give an honorable mention to the fact that there's two new moons in this month, November. We have it on the first about, and depending on where you are in the world, give or take half a day. That was in Sagittarius, and now on the end of the month, the 30th, 30 November, we have another new moon, but it's in Capricorn, and that's in Capricorn season. Before we're leaving, we're out of Sagittarius season. So why don't we just go ahead, get in here, fit in here, and see what we got going on. Okay. Well, we got something wacky because an energy popped out that doesn't belong in this quartet. Okay, and I'm being told to keep shuffling. So this is the alpha energy, meaning the active energy. Or we can say ascending, ascendere. And I'm hearing this French song. It's like the way you move your moves, the way you shake your waist, the way you move your hips, the way, okay, it just gets dirty. Or raunchy or sensual. Um, there's something that we're noticing, and we might be in the physical, in the body. I'm catching that, I'm picking that up. And also, like, we're feeling connected. It might be to source, it might be to a person, it might be to ourselves. We're feeling some kind of way. And it's almost like we're singled in on something or someone. Picking that up. I have a couple decks here to do an unboxing for. I keep forgetting to, so I'm not able to. So we'll do two. Oh, three. We hear another song. It seems to be French today. Because of the boys. Ah, cause des garçons. Okay, so I'm confused what's going on. And there might be a boy. Okay, you know what? Okay, so a win-win outcome is in the forecast and it's Libra. So I was coming in here to do a lunar lounge because currently at the time of this recording, the moon is Okay, so I said accendere, now transcendere. I know that's not the word, but um, I'm hearing that transcendence, transcendere. There's some type of energy that's been lulling and mulling around. It's been reverberating, cascading cacophonies of karma, compounding in some way. There's been an apex where the energy has moved to a vortex, meaning it's found a way to exit or culminate or terminate a cycle. It's finding a vertex, which means it wants to meet other energies at its like-minded vibration, which means it's coming out to a fruition. There is not just a culmination, but a completion. That's the termination. And it's like-minded energy. It may be a pairing, it may be two, a duad. I'm hearing the word duat, which typically talks about the underworld, but it also talks about a couple of concepts. So when there's any creation in its exact opposite is created, but it's usually in another form or another world. It feels almost like we're swapping or we're switching or we're ascending timelines. So we were kind of going on some kind of karmic timeline or karmic existence, and now we're converting to that higher timeline, that higher existence. That's what I'm getting. And it might be with a person now. It doesn't always mean we're going to be syncing up, connecting up, linking up, pairing up, matching, coupling up. It can just mean that there's some kind of dance cosmically going on with another energy, entity, ideology, person. And that's going to terminate in some kind of way. I'm getting a win-win situation here, full moon in Libra. Now, that's not what's going on. Whatever cycles come out in this deck, it doesn't always talk about the cycle that we're in. Because we're actually in the new moon in Capricorn. That's the cycle that we're doing this video for. However, I do want to say at the time of this recording, the moon is transiting Libra, and Libra talks about balance. It talks about open enemies. It talks about justice, fairness. It talks about agreements, contracts, especially partnerships, whether they be filial or congenial. Filial being love making, or congenial being friendship. Okay. And partnerships don't always mean love or romantic or marriage. It can be business partnerships. Okay. And the full moon talks about a culmination, typically a karmic culmination. The new moons talk about setting an intention, beginning a cycle. The full moons talk about closing up a cycle, terminating a cycle, completing a cycle, culminating a cycle. And then since it's a moon, full moon, it always talks about some aspect. It's not always strong, maybe for the sign, maybe for the person, maybe for the house, maybe for that specific moon. Throughout the year, we will have one karmic moon. But in general, the moon does talk about a karmic cycle. Around the 11th and the 22nd is when the sun does its little karmic thing. And typically, when there's a cycle of the sun, it's not always karmic. It's spiritual, it's divine, it's dharmic. The moon will be more karmic, meaning more bad karma versus dharmic good karma. So that's coming through. Okay, I'm getting all of that. And then again, we've reached some type of perfection, and we some kind of message from on high. We have the archangel and the ministering angel here with La Imperatrice. So when we have La Imperatrice, La Temperanza, it talks about like social hierarchy, or maybe shunning, or maybe having to turn our back on something or someone in society. We may be around some kind of person, place, or thing, or environment, surrounding location where there is something that's unacceptable. A decision, a judgment has been made, especially with this discernment card, okay, so we're dealing with a witch or hater as whole, or some kind of malanconia negroso here. Malan malakisa. It's a darkness creating entity. There was some kind of seeds planted. I'm feeling the la stupida, like there was some unhealed, unawakened conditioning and programming that was taken on from like an earlier part in our life. It might not have been origin, like childhood, or the rearing and conditioning of like socialization growing up through the parents, the mother, daddy, teacher, preacher. It might have just been something that we adopted socially, or, in our adolescence, or a way of coping, or a way of navigating, negotiating, remaining present, and participating in the world or amongst people. Something that we picked up that we had to eventually put down. Sometimes there's a kink to work out in our style and our way of doing or of being. There was something we picked up at an earlier time. It might not have been as early as childhood, but something that we picked up at an early time that we had to put down. And it was a belief. It's anchored in the origin of us at a time we were naive, we were innocent, this is a common challenge, especially for myself. I see this happen with everybody, and as a light worker, whatever we heal 6 months later, 18 months later, we'll be helping other people heal from. So a lot of times, and this is coming up this week, so I'm going to say it here. I'm in a lot of circles and communities. I do a lot of teaching and preaching, mostly with addiction. I'm an addictionologist. A lot of times we're learning lessons and we'll like look over our shoulder, we'll look back at an early time in our life, and it's like we were stepping over bodies, souls, humans. We had to kind of experiment, and unfortunately we were experimenting with people, not intentionally, not to harm or whatever, but we might have been doing something that might have left harm or hurt or whatever, what have you. And it wasn't out of malice or like deception. Like we weren't intending to like go around breaking hearts, um, we were just kind of like unhealed, unawakened. So it was like ineptitude or immaturity or unintentional. It was innocence, naivete. It wasn't intentional. Does that make sense? So that's where this behavior came out of, or this thing that we have to put down now, that we picked up at an earlier time, because something's coming to a head. A fiery climax approaches. That's Aries energy here. Because we've been working through our fears, we've been working through our innocence, we've been working through our ignorance, we've been working through the parts of ourselves that we left unexplored, that we failed or neglected or willfully did not venture into. It might even be the depths of our soul. That eighth house energy is what I'm getting. Seventh house is the progression of the eighth house. Seventh house is Libra, open enemies, partners, people that might oppose us or that see us clearly, that are outside of us, meaning the needs we get from others. If you want to have a baby, that takes two to do that. You can't really do it on our own. We're not in a time period upon the earth where we can do protogenesis, meaning self-birth. Energy is gaining momentum, waxing energy. Again, full moon. Something's coming to a head here. And then we have pink. So remember, I was speaking Italian earlier, so that means there's witches or evil, because I was saying malakisa. So there's a darkness that's been lying in wait. It's been sitting there trying to turn something sour, turn something off, turn something dark. Might have even been trying to trick us up out of our space. So that, in another word, because not all of us are culturally aligned with like evil or magic or witches or whatever. In another word, there was something of like a fundamental darkness, that hidden part of all of us, or that bad part of all of us, or that nature in all of us that might kind of do the wrong thing, or maybe intentionally, maybe willfully, or said differently, all of us have a shadow, or all of us have a hidden part of ourselves that we've yet to explore, yet to heal, yet to awaken. So that's that malakisa. There was something here that was fundamentally dark, and we needed to face it, confront it in order to overcome it, because running and fleeing from it was not the answer. If you resist, it persists kind of energy. Yeah, so again, like I said, we had to get to the bottom of ourselves, hear the roots. Whatever I'm picking up on, it's coming through, pulling through. And it's Seta Denata here, the failure is what this is called, but I mean, the planet may fail if we don't put the right type of work, make the right type of investments. It's basically you reap what you sow. But I was catching Malakisa, which is like planting dark seed. I don't know if that makes sense. So we have Imam Kole, that's the queen, any queen. So we have the Queen of Swords here. So somebody here could be a water rising sign. They could have their moon also in a, well, I'm getting Libra moon, a little bit of Aquarius, but Libra moon, Venus in Aquarius is what I'm getting. But it's a blanket statement to anybody. So even if you're not a Libra moon or a Venus in Aquarius, we're actually more discerning these days, and we're unto ourselves. So yeah, we like people, we want people, but we don't need people. So nothing outside of ourselves is going to make us feel better than or less than, because we're enough. And people kind of inform our experience. They don't serve our needs, if that makes sense. So a feeling is just there to inform the experience, and the experience lets us know whether we got our needs met, yes or no. And then according to the behaviors of others in our environment, surrounding location, that combined with the discernment of if and how our needs are getting met, that's actually, see, this is a thing. People don't understand boundary setting. You don't explain your boundaries to people, and if you do set a boundary with the person, the easiest way to do it is look at the behavior that they're doing that affects whatever outcome that we're perceiving. And then when we set a boundary, we don't say, I'm setting this boundary because XYZ and elemental P and TUV and ABC. No, you set the boundary saying like, hey, next time could you XYZ for me, because I'm not going to ABC with you anymore. And sometimes we need to go hard, we need to go heavy, but we don't actually sit there and explain. A queen never complains and never explains. That's some petty, boring, basic-ish, okay? It's fine if you want to do that, but you don't need me for that. You don't need to be here for that. If you want to be a queen, if you want to be royal, you want to be real, you want to be a prophetess, a priestess, a high-level, high-minded, high-vibrational queen, here's what it is. Sometimes you need to have the dialogue of like, hey, honey, no hard feelings. I'm just unable to continue this XYZ with you anymore. It's really not a discussion. I'm doing that for me. You're free to feel whatever you feel about it, and I'm free to not care. And then turn around and walk away or exit the conversation. We don't need to sit there and wait for a response. Or when we set a boundary, it's not about them. Here's the secret. Boundaries are rules for ourselves. Rules are boundaries for other people. So when you have a boundary for other people, it's really a rule. When you have a boundary for yourself, it's really a boundary. For me, I do not eat four-legged animals. If the meat comes from any animal with four legs, I'm not going to eat it. And I don't explain that to people, and I don't tell them that it's not for vegan or this or that. It's for spiritual reasons. I don't spend the time, the energy, the effort, and attention itemizing and inventorying and explaining and enumerating and enlightening and providing insight. I just say, no, here's my standard. It's either going to be met or it's not. Here's my boundary. You're either going to respect it or you're not. And you decide. You're free to decide. Like the person who hears that, they're free to decide what it is. And that's just the thing as well. When people don't meet our boundaries and standards, what we're giving them is an opportunity to filter themselves out of our life. It's that pick-me-sha, that hungry, angry, lonely, tired, horny girl that runs around saying, pick me, love me, love me. No, when we set a boundary and somebody doesn't want to mess with that boundary, they don't want to mess with us. That's just how it goes. Do you lock your door when you leave your house or apartment? I'm sure you do. That's a boundary. Do you stop at the red light so you don't get a ticket or kill somebody? That's a boundary. Do you put your phone on do not disturb sometimes because you're busy or you're overwhelmed or you need a quiet time? That's a boundary. Do you take care of your hygiene on a regular basis so you're not rusty, dusty, musty, and crusty? That's a boundary. Do you brush your teeth? Do you comb your hair? That's a boundary and a standard. And we don't always explain that to other people. Sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes it's not. Okay, so that's what I'm getting. And again, it's where we're rooted. There's something that we've got into the depths of our soul. Imam Kolai is opposite of midheaven. Okay. So another word is, in order to have branches that go all the way to heaven, that provide fruit upon the earth, we need to have roots that go all the way to hell. So we do need to explore the depths of our soul, but we can't be getting lost there. Like I was saying, sustainability here. So this is about karmic debt, what it takes to sustain our life force itself. And it's a master number. Mama loves those. We also have here the goddess and myself when I say mama, because I'm Abossi ma. Okay. So remember I was saying there was something we had to confront in order to overcome because it's central to our lives. So there's a thing, and I hate to use this example, but we do need darkness, we do need the evil, we do need the other side in order to have whatever side that we're on. I like to use the bowel example. Like we need that bacteria in our gut in order to help us eliminate. And what we're eliminating is toxins. It might come out in the form of shit. It might come out in the form of karmic relationships, whatever, what have you. But we need that underside, which is below the heart. We need that mechanism to make sure that we're getting out with the old, meaning get out with yesterday's meal, get out with yesterday's man, get out with yesterday's plan, move on, move forward to a bigger, brighter, and better day, a bigger, brighter, and better self. We have to look up above the horizon, towards the stars, into the future in order to get to where we're going. Because if we're looking down at the ground, or if we're even looking straight ahead, we're actually going to miss our exit. And we might be tricked up out of our spot or miss our spot. It doesn't mean it won't circle back around, but you know, when you're driving along the freeway and you miss your exit, you might not be able to get off on the next one and take the side streets. It might take a couple few minutes, a couple few miles, a couple few towns before we can double back and get to where we were going. How much time does that take? It's easier the first time around just to pay attention. Okay. The first house, arrival. Okay, so I don't know what channel I'm getting, but I'm happy to be here. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege and the pleasure to do so. Again, hi, hello. My name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I was sent today to talk about the full, new moon. New moon in Capricorn on the 30th of November, give or take a day, depending on where you are in the world. Okay, so the guidance that we'll be imposing today is from Nadia Anastasia's Cosmic Activation cards for the soul. Okay, we got one, Compassiones. I was just reading Matthew's 23:34. I was also reading Luke's 5, chapter 5, verse 44, you know, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And, you know, pray for thy enemy. That's what I've been with lately. Okay, that's what's been alive in me. So I sure hope that's helpful. So we will conclude the reading when we come across the Devil card and the High Priestess. Compassion. Love and compassion towards others starts with love and compassion towards the self. Nodding. Affirmation. I am filled with thoughts of gratitude, compassion, forgiveness, and love. Associated chakra is the heart. Love and compassion is the sacred essence of all that is. It enhances us and embraces us without condition or judgment and assists us to grow and evolve to higher states of conscious awareness. This card has come to you as a reminder that true compassion starts with you. Learn from your experiences, even the most challenging, and forgive yourself for experiences that may have caused suffering. Carrying the weight of internal judgment only brings pain and suffering. But when you have compassion and love towards yourself, compassion extends towards others around you. Forgiving another can be the hardest test of all, especially when the hurt that they have inflicted has cut deep and the buried wounds and emotions resurface. It is only natural to want to react with spite, bitterness, and rage. It is even more natural to want to put up walls of protection from further pain. But when walls surround one's heart, they halt growth and the ability to manifest a reality of choice. Dear one, if you have found yourself in this predicament now, know that this is your time to react differently. Choose forgiveness, compassion, and love. Do not close your heart and build walls. This does not serve you. It takes you further away from your own truth. Choose love. It is through love that others will come to see themselves with more light. This does not mean you should stay in a situation where you are being mistreated or where the boundaries have been crossed. You can move away from the situation that does not serve your highest good with love and compassion still in your heart. Affirmation: I am filled with thoughts of gratitude, compassion, and action. Love and compassion towards the other starts with love and compassion towards the self. Let us begin our reading. We're entering the cycle going towards our self-worth and value and parachuchi. I'm going to pause. There's some entity here. I don't know what it is, but there's an energy of seeing through maybe the matrix with the Queen of Swords, Seven of Cups, but the Seven of Cups is the unhealed, unawakened, illusion, delusion, confusion, that gaslighting or mirage or glamour even. But there's also an excess of feelings here with the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups, Seven of Cups means that we have a lot of the feels, literally. But we have discernment with this Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords needs clarity, truth. In some cases, the Queen of Swords needs to attack or defend according to boundary standards. There's been a decision made here about maybe a lot of opportunities. I'm also getting that there's lots of tokens of affection here and that we need to whittle through and make a head over heart decision. But I want to say use the mind as a guide and the heart. I mean, use the heart as a guide and the mind as a witness. We will do well with La Temperanza, the Temperance card. That means a perfect score, a positive test, the result that you want. Because opposing this or mirroring this or opposite of this is we've put in some kind of work. A double seven means there's wisdom from a cycle that we've gone through here because there's a culmination, but also it's an alert that seeds have been planted. There's an agenda and there might be some kind of illusion, confusion, mirage, glamour, especially with this Page of Cups. There might have been in a previous time, the cycle that we're entering into, we were previously, right before entering the cycle, we were previously like immature, naive in some kind of way. It could have been that we were unhealed, unawakened, but that's shifting because it's also saying here that there's been multiple experiences with this Eight of Wands and that it gave us some hard knocks, but it taught us something. It literally built us in the fire. We might have been purified or forged in the fire is what I'm getting. There can be this energy of like Saturn in Sagittarius. I'm also getting Venus in Aquarius. I'm also getting Venus in Scorpio, but there, like if somebody is a Sag rising, Aquarius falls on the third house, and this is very typical. The earlier part of life, because the third house talks about like how you learn and how you cultivate your experiences and craft and abilities and talents. The first 20, 30 years of life could be a little bit like late. It would look later on in life like late bloomer, but that's not true. It just took us a long time to snap out of that innocence. And other people might take us as naive a little bit. And it was very taxing, very burdensome. It might have even been a little bit less an ordeal, but definitely a burden. Another interpretation I'm getting is that it cultivated our refinement and our innate beauty, and it gave us an understanding of our worth and value. It took us a while to understand what might be targeted by other people, or why we might be seen maybe as a mark or as naive, or why people might lay into us or target us for exploitation. That's what I'm picking up on here. Because there's a little bit of new fanaticism now. Before we were soft in Barachicha, before we were, I mean, there's no other way to say it than before we were passive, not in a walk all over kind of way. We might have been using love and nurturing to manifest. We might have been letting things come to us, attracting them into our life instead of going after and taking massive action. That's shifted. Again, I'm getting Venus in Aquarius, but I'm also getting Libra moon. I'm also getting Sun in Aries. To a lesser degree, that can be a Cancer rising. We planted enough seeds, made enough investment to have discernment. And I do want to confirm it was because they was innocent and naive. The Five of Swords is another word for putting down the hatchet and burying the hatchet, or waking up to the shock and awe. It's a little bit of an unpleasant experience, realizing that we were naive and taken advantage of. That's the Five of Swords as well. Because now we have the Two of Swords, where there's a question that we always ask, and there's a knowing that we need in order to persist, in order to perceive, in order to continue on in a certain kind of way, shape, form, or another, down a certain path or with a certain person. There's always a question that we ask now. There's always a discernment that we're looking to make, or have, I should say. And that is the right thing. In a way, it set us free with the Fool card here. It's almost like we have a creative new beginning and something to take massive action on. So there's seeds we plant, or there's seeds that we sow now with everything, with everyone, with everywhere that we do go have or around. Every environment surrounding location is going to be cultivated in a certain type of way. Now that we've gained this knowledge, now that we've gained this insight, now that we've gained this clarity, now that we have this discernment. I'm hearing the song, all the other kids with the pumped up kids, you better learn. I don't know the lyrics. Something about the gun, something about the bullet. I don't actually know the lyrics. I don't. I'm not a popular music person. There's been this breaking out, breaking free, almost as if there's a new beginning with the Ace of Wands and this Mato Fool card. It tells us that there's some creative new beginning here with the Temperance card here explaining the descending energy. We've healed and found spiritual perfection because we know how to now practice discernment. And we have the Order of the Thrones here. So we have the third order of angels. It came through very strongly, and it's confirmed with the Justice card. These are the angels that dole out gifts, punishment, and order, and commands from the divine. This is the enforcement team. So there's something about writing karma, aligning the self. There's also something here that has to deal with divine law, spiritual alignment, spiritual virtue. the divine right of kings, masculine beauty, and also the divine right of children, of God's children, even. Somebody here could be a Libra sun. Somebody here could be a Libra rising. Somebody here could have Mars in Libra. Somebody here could be a Libra midheaven, which would make us, oh my gosh, my brain is dead. A Capricorn rising. And then we have a Capricorn energy here too, but it's talking about securing a position. So some of us are still working out something, because there was a witch, an Iamia, a Rega, a Bruja, a Naja. Somebody's also dealing with a witch of Asian origin. Okay, that's a hardcore one. I wouldn't mess with an African or an Asian witch. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. So there was some external entity. They were an open enemy, or they just became one that did master some type of blockage in our life. They took a hold energetically in our life until we came to perfect alignment. And we needed to renew our covenant, our compact with the divine, because anything less than the Most High, they were going to have supremacy over us. So we need to get rid of our ego, our stupidity, our moranica, our idiota. We needed to get rid of our dumb assery, our dumb fuckery, excuse my language. We needed to get rid of our slow, stupid little ways, our foolish ways, our lazy ways. We need to get rid of that, taking shortcuts and cutting corners. We needed to get rid of that lack of balance, lack of fairness, lack of virtue. We needed to cut all that, put it down the shredder. But when we finally perfected our God sovereign and free, our divine virtue, it repelled the darkness. Because now that stronghold is returning to us. We've secured that position of power, that something external to us, an energy, an entity, an ideology. It was some strange witch. And the thing is, we were given our power over to them. There was some kind of rule of lesser magic. So we granted permission. We gave assent at some earlier time when we were more naive or childish. Somebody here could have their moon in Aquarius to a lesser degree. Again, Capricorn rising. I mean, moon in Aries to a lesser degree, Capricorn rising. Somebody blocked us from one of our own gifts, either so we didn't use it to detect them or so that they could use it to their own advantage. Yeah, I'm hearing that. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks. I don't know the lyrics. Something's eerie about that song. It always sounds like it's a warm and bright, breezy, sunny day, but it feels like there's something very sinister and wicked is going on behind those lyrics. To me, that's like a Trojan horse song. I don't know how else to say it. So the thing with the sun is everything becomes enlightened. Everything gets seen in the broad light of day. So there's a hidden enemy here, or unless there's boundaries and standards, because we're needing to block, we're needing to defeat, or we're needing to establish boundaries and standards, because there was an energy that was able to, I'm hearing puppet us around. They were able to repress, suppress, oppress, depress by using mirror magic, meaning they were using our own energy against us, or they were using our own energy to manifest. It was mirror magic. They were showing up with our own aura, with our own energy, either against us or as us. Somebody might have their sun in Capricorn. They could be an Aries rising. They could be a Libra rising. To a very, 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 very small degree, Cancer rising. Okay, so this has been restrained or regulated, whatever dog dirty, whatever underhanded, because it was trickery. It was designed to strip, dismantle, knock down, knock over, tear down, tear apart. And I feel like somebody was using our own energy to attack others. So that means we're of a great spiritual power. It's been resolved, but there was a breakdown in communication. Maybe they were using our own energy to attack others so that they would stop talking to us. That's what I'm saying. And it doesn't have to be a they. It might not be a person, but I feel like it is. It's a very technically trained, masterful energy. It's another interpretation for this is a high ranking demon is using the mind or the energy of unsuspecting. That means whoever they attach to, they're weak, this high ranking demon. So that means we have a lot of weak little around us. So it's a couple interpretations there. But something's getting bound down because we were bound to this being bound. We were bound to this being stripped. We were bound to this being left out, maybe even exiled temporarily through means of a person, not the government or the cosmos. It was a spell that I was going to run out of time. The thing about it, this energy that was going up against us had to yield to our own power. So once we took our power back, we were actually the boss of it, or we had authority over it. And that's really what this new moon is about. It's about discovering our root, our seat of power. So we have a pair of fours here. So that's repression, suppression, oppression, depression. We have mirror magic and penning magic. Confirm the pen down magic. We were pinned down left in a jar. Eight of Swords, Four of Swords. This being pinned down left in a jar is confirmed with the Magician and the King of Swords. And then we have the triple confirmation here. These two cards together confirm being left in a sunken place, but we don't have the sunken place energy. But we do have us being drained and stripped and harvested for our energy and our powers and our gifts. So it's not about that, because that's stuff we talk about at the full moon. During the new moon, it's about discovering what we are, who we are, and what we're about. Our self-worth and value, our self-worth and respect, it was always going to shine bright like a diamond. It was always going to have to, excuse me. And what falls to the floor comes to the door. This is a divine being, the high priest. Excuse me. This is a divine being, the empress. It means that it's the sacred feminine, the divine feminine. Here's that sunken place energy. That was the agenda. They wanted to, here's the high priestess I was just mentioning. Remember I said we'll stop the reading when we see the high priestess and because the new moon in Capricorn. So it needs to be down here though, not in the clarifiers. So what I'm getting, I want to know about this Four of Swords and Eight of Swords. Yeah, there was something ruling over us, lording over us, presiding over us, and it was something done as a spiritual manipulation. And I thought it was interesting that we had the 4 and 2 of Pentacles. They're both Capricorn energy. They've been in the same spot. So it's like something moved into our celestial endowment and started drawing from our spiritual bank account. And it's almost like our spiritual power, our spiritual team, our spiritual guidance, our spiritual gifts, it was usurped in some kind of way, flanked. Somebody tapped the wire or like was spying on us spiritually for a long period of time. And we shouldn't talk about all this, what somebody was doing to us, because it's the new moon. So what does that mean? It means that that's over or that's been exposed. And so now we're going to figure out why we're targeted so much, what it is that they have to steal. Like, what about us is so special and why people want to steal from us? And it's spiritually. Because we have a unique set of gifts and it's multiple gifts. About half a dozen is what I've detected so far. And so what happens is that there's always an energy of raiding around us, and that's also going to build us up. Because as a divine being, those attacks don't work, especially long term. Our gifts get activated during attacks. Our knowledge, our wisdom comes online during attacks. And so all that energy was projected as 8 of Wands, but we had a seal of protection around us. And whatever wounds did lodge, it was a lesson. Whatever attack they were able to lob and lodge at us, whatever did land, it was a lesson. Yeah, because it showed us our connection to the divine, 2 of Cups. We have the hotline to heaven. I'm hearing that telephone song by Erykah Badu. I had to stop and go listen to Erykah Badu. Dial her last album, 2015. So somebody's been trying to access our energy, trying to get our number. And it's not any one particular person. It's been a system, a structure, a foundation, a theme, a story of entities, energies, ideologies, others, open enemies, essentially. Trying to use our energy, trying to copy our vibe to get in our energy. And so the thing about this new moon is that we finally got our own number. We finally know what's up. We finally know who we are, or we're finally on the path to discovering who we are and what's up. And that's really a Capricorn thing, figuring out the stronghold, filling out our positioning. That's really what Capricorn does. It's also about working through some of the more precarious parts of the conscious experience, doing some of the heavy duty, hardcore things that we need to do to really get what we need out of this life, especially when it comes to like, the word coming to mind is material possessions, but whatever it is that we're seeking. Whatever it is where we actually do have desires. They could be spiritual desires, they could be material desires, that don't matter. The wanting, the craving, the yearning, it brings in a lesson all of its own. It doesn't mean that that's a good energy to keep around for very long. Wanting, hoping, wishing, praying, yearning, conjuring up some wounding from the past. That's also the 7 of Cups that we saw. But I'm getting this energy of something's been resolved. Sun and the Il Torre, the tower. Even though there's still an intent to attack, to tear down, to tear apart, it don't work no more. Every little stumble, we're stumbling into success, we're failing into success, we're falling into success. So nothing is happening to us, it's all happening for us. And that might not be the perspective from the other side, but again, this is not about other people. It's about us and ourselves. It's the new moon. It's about the intentions that we're setting, about the seeds that we're planting, about what we got going on, what we trying to do, what we fixing to do. So we figured out what our talent is, magician and the sun card, but also there's been a breakdown in communication if there's been some kind of enemy. there's some, and an enemy could just be a bad habit, a bad trait. It could be some old system, some old program that was still running in our hard drive, something that was still in our psyche, something that we need to heal and awaken from. Because we're needing rest, recovery, we're needing to heal from trauma, which is actually happening, but we're also needing something to yield to our authority. We're needing to step into our own power. Because there's some changes to make here, and it requires some attending to. We need to figure out what we've been attached and holding on to, and we need some proper judgment around it, because not everything needs to be let go of. We might need to let go of the need for others or other people or other things. We might need to take the onus off of what's going on externally and just turn that inward. Some of us are going to have the story that we might have been wounded and traumatized and abused and vilified and ostracized and victimized, but actually we were our biggest abuser. We were the one who traumatized ourselves the most by simply not willing to recognize the cycle, or not, by simply not being willing to accept accountability, responsibility for the fact that we were present or we contributed to it. And it doesn't excuse what anybody did to us. It doesn't mean that whatever user, abuser, vilifier, toxic, or even harmful entity that was around us, whether they be in a person or a spiritual form, it doesn't mean that they're off the hook. But it doesn't mean that we're without any accountability there either. That sometimes is the story, because we do need to shift around our thinking. With the Magician and the Five of Pentacles, that we need to make changes to our thinking. It is the proverbial stinking thinking. We need to get up out of that, get rid of that. Because then once we attend to those things where we were attached to things we didn't need to, even more healing comes. But with that healing comes a granting. It's almost like a blessing got removed, or favor got removed, or access to our blessing got removed, while other energies, entities, ideologies were around us that weren't serving us. But we're worthy, and there's a promise on our life. Once we found that strength, courage, and wisdom, once we found that emotional fortitude, a lot was going to come back, but it took a revelation, almost like a bit of a breakdown. But with that came a completion. We needed to face some of the darker aspects of our nature. The strength card means overcoming the darker aspects of our nature. It means that we mastered some kind of shadow part of our nature. We needed to repel some darkness away. Because it was trying to take a stronghold, and in reality, we had the stronghold. We were the one who was the root of power. We had the authority. But if energies outside of us had caused us to believe we weren't worthy, or we didn't have, you know what I mean? Like, we were believing too much of what we were told and conditioned and programmed. We needed to kind of retain and refrain and restrain from others and focus on ourselves. See, the Hermit card hasn't come out, so I'm not able to say we have to turn within and look inside ourselves for answers. You get a little bit of that with the Hierophant, but actually, if something's trying to take you down, it means they're already beneath you. That's really the lesson we were trying to learn. They came right back. There was an energy trying to tear us down, tear us apart. And it's Niguan Hapa, Niguan work, but that is what was tried. Because not only is there a creative beginning, but there's a new beginning of our heart's desires. But I think we need to get back to our heart's desires. We might have stopped dreaming, stop hoping, stop wishing, stop praying, stop believing. We've had an accomplishment, now we're having an achievement. And I think that Empress before is telling us about a glow up that we're having, but it's a spiritual glow up. we're getting spiritually, you know, broadcasted. Because we found our destined work. There's some kind of talent that we have, there's some kind of duty and obligation. And once we start fulfilling that, and it's of a divine origin, once we start fulfilling that, everything starts to come in. And I'm hearing that. It's the Erykah Badu version. You used to call me on my cell. You were a device at night. So it's like somebody was trying to access our energy or something. It could have been an entity. Something was accessing our energy, especially during sleep or during the time when our subconscious was more active. So our heart is open back up and our cup is starting to overflow with goodness, with joy, with happiness, with excitement. We've been led through the river Styx. We've been led out of hell. We know how to navigate away from the situation that we were in. And it's calling it a toxic situation, even if we don't know. So let's explain toxicity for a moment then. Abuse is when things go beyond consent or beyond mutually beneficial nursing needs exchange. Something that's toxic for one might not be toxic for another, but toxic means after toxic, we become poison. And after we're poisoned, we become dead. So some people can drink a lot and other people can only drink a little bit. Okay, so poison for one is not poison for another. It's like I know of somebody that can't take ibuprofen for more than a couple of days at a time, or they start getting stomach aches. I know another person that can take ibuprofen for weeks at a time. Me, myself, personally, I can only eat like one donut before I start, nodding off, before I have like a comatose, sugar high. I have a friend that can sit down and eat a dozen donuts and like nothing. That would kill me. I could never do that. Does that make sense? So different strokes for different folks. So toxicity, we're being led out of a toxic cycle. We're being led away from something toxic. And what that is, it's according to whoever is watching. It's going to be different stuff for different folks. Toxic for one is not toxic for another. It's just harmful. A toxic is definitely a word according to a perspective. Because what's happening is we not only have we found our spiritual strength, but we're standing in it. And something's coming towards us because of our spiritual strength. And it literally is saying because we're leaning into our God duties and obligations, we're having a timeline restoration here, a soul retrieval even. Because we're being initiated or we're preparing to move on, move forward, have some kind of victory. And I do want to say we were left in a sunken place for certain, but that gave us things. I don't think the enemy thought that was going to happen. I think they thought we'd be left in despair and depression, that we'd become a shell of ourselves and never work towards our destiny. But in that sunken place, in the trenches we were left in to die, we learned some kind of lesson. Because what I'm hearing is this rhythm of like, you used to approach me wanting this from me, and I don't give that to you anymore. It's a narrative we're having with the enemy. And since it's the new moon, I should talk more about the intentions that we're setting, but the intentions that we're setting is to be a new person, a bigger person, a brighter person, a better person. Like the old ways and the old tactics, they don't work on us anymore. And that's also something that can inspire envy and hatred in others. That's a threat to a person that's in their shadow. They would say, oh, you think you're better? No, you think I'm better. That's why you're saying it. I just think that I want more for myself. And if me going higher up the mountain is threatening to you, that's crab in a bucket syndrome. You're trying to pull me down because I'm making it out. Why don't you try to get out with me? Why aren't you focusing? Why are you minding my business? Why don't you focus on your own? So the business that we're minding, that is our own business, is our spiritual business. We're getting in alignment with our God duties and obligations, with our God duties responsibilities. And it's given us some kind of access to a spot that was already created for us, but we were losing track of. It's a delayed message. Again, another 4, another double 4. We have another pair of 4s here. So repress, suppress, oppress. Somebody was obsessed with that. Now we could have been compulsive. We could have also been fearful. There might have been some, with the devil for us, there might have been some fear that was based out of falsities and illusion, maybe even ignorance. But I'm sensing here that there was some energy of a person that gained power in this real world because of what they did to us, which was some type of bondage, spiritual manipulation. And 3 weeks ago, we broke free of this energetically. So it's starting to backfire, and it might be involved with a group. So if there was a group of people, whatever lies are going to come out, it's some kind of Virgo, Libra energy or Taurus, Gemini energy here. Okay, Virgo, Libra energy. See, we go to ourself for answers now. We're not even playing the game, and that's offending somebody because they don't know what to do with that. Now they're not able, they don't have anything they could do. See, before we were involved, so they always had something to play with, and now that we've withdrawn our energy, that you know, and it might not be a person, okay? It's the enemy. So what is the enemy? The oppositional energy, the great adversary, the one that doesn't want us to go to our destined spot. We came in this life to learn and to grow. And once we learned and grew enough, there would be some type of blessing or benefit, which is part of the deal that we made with the divine. So there was some energy, entity, ideology trying to prevent us from getting to that space, getting to that place. But the more we leaned into God duties and obligations, the more we aligned with our own self, the more our cup started to overflow it. The more we found our destined spot. Yeah, I'm here. You used to call me. Oh, in the late night. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that. It's the Erykah Badu version, not the Degrassi Boy. There was a sorcerer type of energy. Say it differently, since it's us perspective, first person perspective. There might have been an energy, entity, ideology external to us that was using our energy in a masterful way. They tapped into our energy so good, so strongly, so expertly, so perfectly that they were controlling us in a certain type of way, shape, form, or another, or completely. But it's starting to backfire. And whatever external energy that was, this is a sorcerer energy. Sorceress would be queen. Sorcerer would be king. If it was the wands, it would be a witch. And if it was the king of wands, it would be a warlock. So some sorceress or sorcerer, their energy is starting to backfire. There's a backfire here. 7 of swords with the tower or 9 of swords alone is the backfire. especially when you see the Ten of Wands here. That cycle is up and over. They left us in some type of prison. It was like an energy harvesting grid. And it could have been a collective thing, is really what I'm getting with. When you see Scorpio or Capricorn energy, it's very much a collective thing. I think every light worker on the surface of the planet was going through it. We didn't necessarily need some hidden enemy in our life. The only reason why I'm even saying that in this reading is because right out the gate, we had the Five of Swords soon after the gate, first of all, we had the Empress right away. And then soon thereafter, the Five of Swords came. That always, 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 always means a jealous person in our life who's already been blocking, who's in orchestrations, machinations, is about to be exposed. Does that make sense? Something that somebody was doing out of hatred, love, hatred, is going to be exposed. And it's the truth. We had a trickster, an operator, a manipulator, a liar. A being born out of hell or on the path to hell. Ten of Swords, Three of Swords. This is a triangulator. This is an agent trying to strip and block and bind our celestial endowment, the promise on our life. Ten of Cups. That's what this was. And with the Chariot here, see, I was at the Tower, which meant there was some kind of previous attack. We're overcoming something here with the Chariot. It's like a triumph, but it's according to us falling back in alignment, getting back into formation. We need to be lockstep with the Lord, or lockstep with the divine, or at least lockstep with our intuition. You used to call me, oh, in the late night, yeah, yeah, yeah. You used to call me when you needed all my love, yeah. And then we had the Queen of Cups with the Queen of Pentacles, the Sorceress. So the Sorceress being left to their own devices, and I honestly think it's the global elite, the people that control the construct of our reality. The powers that be, soon to become the powers that were. It's coming to a head. Because we've overcome something with emotional fortitude, strength, courage, and wisdom. Whatever seeds were planted, it didn't work. Those seeds that were planted actually became the precipice for our awakening. It didn't become the precipice for our enslavement. So we did a Uno reverse, what is I'm being told. We went left when they expected us to go right and follow around like a dog. They wanted to walk us around like a dog. Oh gosh. Okay, this channel, oh gosh, and the devil came right back out. So I don't know what to say. This isn't getting any more pleasant. So we're also getting somebody here as a Virgo sun. I think this enemy that we have is a Virgo or Libra. To a lesser degree, a Taurus, but and then we have a double 8 here flanking this King of Pentacles. So they also did not want us to manifest whatever we were supposed to manifest. Because if we fell in alignment with God's plan, we would have built something in this life that would have lasted a lifetime. We would have built a legacy. And I'm detecting that some energy, entity, ideology had to go and gang up on us, collect other conspirators. There was a conspiracy here because they decided to make us feel bad. We were too happy, too joyful, too sparkly, too pure, too lovely. So the enemy, which is the devil, we know this, the enemy doesn't like that. They're a covenant breaker, an oath breaker, a vow breaker. They want us to turn our back on the divine. They want us to forsake our blessings. They want to trick us up out of our spot, which is to be chosen. We have the Nine of Cups with the king, with the Knight of Cups, Nine of Cups. That means we incarnated to be chosen. We incarnated to be a chosen one. And then we have the 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. So when we do our divine work, we come into riches or glory, really. And that's the truth. And it was our destiny. So the thing is with a witch, they can do a whole lot. I'll be honest. A witch can really mess up your life. However, they can't mess up your destiny. And if they do, their punishment is not something that they can afford. They can't afford to do that crime. But of course, since they're a diavolo, since they're the devil's child page, they're going to try to triangulate in some kind of way. They're going to try to use our own energy against us or get us to get up. They're going to rage bait us, to stupid bait us, or trick us, or let me move on. What is this? So that going within and finding soul's wisdom, definitely dealing with the Virgo sun. Also Venus and Virgo. The Venus and Virgo people have, I don't mean anything negative, because that energy could be very lovely. Let me talk about the bad aspect of it. It's not with everybody. That energy sometimes can come off cold and callous. But what they are is very discerning, and they're very independent. A lot of people, love makes them loosey-goosey and needy and clingy, and I'm not always meaning that, but yes, I sometimes do. Love, sometimes, especially earthbound love, it could, the two become one. There's no, and that's not how it is in the higher realms. In spirit, love is universal. We are all made of love. So, but we definitely have our own definite energy. Does that make sense? So that's one thing about the Venus and Virgo. They can either get a bad rap or they could actually be awful. Yes, they can be cold and callous and calculated because they test love a lot, or they're very actual factual, or dry, meaning cold, meaning they're not warm-blooded. You can't get a reaction out of them. They're very distant and detached, which I actually prefer. Me personally, that's lovely to me. But the connection isn't there. So the unity, the community, the partnership, the fluidity is not there. We also have the sun in Virgo. So sun conjunct Venus is actually really positive. I feel like this was the collaboration. We have somebody with their Venus. It's not uncommon for a Libra to have, or a Scorpio to have their Venus in Virgo. It's very, or even a Leo. It's very, very common. I see that often. And when you get like a one person with the sun and another person with the moon, or one person with the sun and another person with the Venus, when you get those two people together, it's like a gang, it's like a cabal, a clique, a coven. And the thing about it here is like, we needed to do that. That's the message. We needed to kind of be cold, be withdrawn, be distant, be turn within into ourselves and use soul's wisdom as the guide, not to go outside of ourselves using history books, science books, religious books, using mother, daddy, teacher, preacher, using dogma, stigma in order to get our answers. We didn't need to group source our own decision making. We didn't need to collaboratively process. We didn't need to process or think out loud. We needed to do it in and of our own self. Or if we were going to do it collaboratively, it needed to be with our guides, with our spirits, with our ancestors, not with these clicky catty. You hear what I'm saying? That was a line of expletives. I couldn't say that out loud. I'm hearing the language. There are a bunch of babbling bitches. That's a little strong for me. So that language means they're playing emotional warfare. They want to make us feel some kind of way because they feel that way. And that's how they fight, because they think the thing that wounded them is what's going to wound us. But see, we're made out of different stuff. The thing is, we've gone through things 10 times as hard as they have, and we're still nice, lovely, caring, and kind, and they're horrible when they've gone through 1/4 of the things, 1/4 of the things we've gone through. Is a pretty common. So there's some kind of bigger and brighter and better healing and destiny making here. Because now our love is unconditional. That's what this whole cycle has taught us. And now that we're beginning a new cycle, we're setting this intention to be loving, caring, and kind. We're setting this intention to have compassion in our hearts. It's very forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. If they knew better, they would do better. But we have the Leviathan spirit here. So this is a primordial, ancient spirit of opposition that just wants to trick us up out of our spot and go against the divine. It wants to go against the Lord. They don't want to see us happy. They don't want to see us healthy. They don't want to see us whole. They don't want to see us in alignment. They don't want to see us be blessed. They don't want to see us be chosen. They don't want to see us be happy. They don't want to see us out there healing. They don't want to see us out there shining. They want to see us fall. They want to see us forsake our covenant, forsake our promise, forsake our vow to the divine. They don't want to see us be a light worker. They want to see us be a hate monger. And that's this hatred. This enemy is to our unconditional love. They want to see us hate. They don't want to see us love. That's the seeds that they're planting. They're trying to get us to sow seeds of our own demise or sow seeds of darkness. And it's Niguan Hapa. It's Niguan work. We're never, ever, ever going to become miserly and bitter. There's a song, "Oh, hunger in my heart, this razor's cutting sharp. Oh, I'm hanging high, why won't you let me down? I'm back where I started, you know I'm a little lost. Because when it hurts the most, I push a little more. I'm back where I started, you know I'm a little lost." So that is us. That's an unconditional love being. That's a pure, bright, blissful being. When it hurts more, we push even more. In my clinical training, they taught us that I'm an addictionologist. That's my actual history. I'm doing some other stuff lately, but in addiction, they teach that the absence of addiction is not abstinence, is not being sober. The absence of addiction is actually connection. That when you're treating addiction, you don't say, why can't you put the substance down? Why can't you put the bottle down? Why can't you put this man down? Why can't you put this video game down? Why can't you put this gambling away? Why can't you put this porn away? Why can't you put this sex stuff that you do away? That's not it. It's not why the addiction, it's why the hurt, why the pain, why the trauma. And connection comes from authenticity. So in order to be authentic, you also need to be genuine and sincere. In order to be sincere, you need to be present with the self. In order to be present with the self, you need to treat the root of the pain. You might not need to get rid of the pain. You might not need to, soothe the pain, but you might need to address the root of the pain. And these evil, pernicious, malevolent, sideways, sneaky, seditious hoes, the reason they're miserly and bitter, the reason that they're hateful, envious, the reason that they're sinister, wicked, and evil, is because there's a hole in their soul that's the size of the universe. They're vacant, vapid, basilisk void is what they are, because they can't, the only thing that's going to fill that hole in their heart is God. But they try to feed it with the man, they try to feed it with money, they try to feed it by harming other people. What kind of being do you need to be to think that demeaning others is going to give meaning to you? There's some people in this world that are so weak, all they have is power. There's some people in this world that are so stupid, all they have is an advanced degree. There's some people in this world that are so poor, all they have is a bunch of money. The emptiest mind screams the loudest. So there's this, it's like we have the lovers card on one side, love, being chosen. And on the other side, we have the devil and it's being fallen. And then in the middle, we have coming into incarnation. We have the moon. It's the cycles of incarnation. It's all the past lives combined. So imagine lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime coming to Earth and not learning the lesson of unconditional love. Of being covetous and envious and hateful and sinister and evil and wicked and miserly and bitter and causing hate and sowing seeds of discord and strife. This is the strife card. And when it's Rey Denari, that it means that that's their modus operandi. This is how they get down, get around. This is what they're about. And when you have the Rey de Copa, the King of Cups, it means that's who you are on the inside. Like if you lose your body right now and your soul is just there, that's what your soul is going to be. The martyr, the one that always comes and gets wounded but leaves cleanest day. Again, it came right back. King of Cups. It came right back, as I was saying. Now, somebody can be a Pisces sun or a Pisces midheaven, which would make them a Gemini rising. We have a Gemini card here as well. Somebody could be sun in Capricorn to a lesser degree. They could be an Aries rising. Somebody could be Mars in Capricorn or Capricorn rising. Because when it hurts the most, I push a little more. I'm back where I started at. You know I'm a little lost. Yeah, so that's Lykke Li, Lykkeli. Lykke Li. I don't know the name of the song. I think it hurts. Hunger in my heart or hurts the most. Hanging High. It's called Hanging High. Oh, I'm hanging high. Oh, won't you let me down? I'm back where I started and you know I'm a little lost. Yeah, that's these people. They're lost souls. That's the enemy. So what we're getting out of this new moon is we're getting our own number. We're learning the essence and the origin of our divine soul. We're learning the calling on our life and the mission we're here to fulfill. So we have a double 6 here. We had a double king before. So what was that pair of kings telling us? So these people kind of came, this energy, there's an energy here of suffering. 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords, that's damnation. With the moon card, that's in lifetime after lifetime of suffering, that they're not able to be released from this cycle. With the High Priestess and the moon, that's the keeper of the mystery. Because for us, we have the hangman. So we come here and we get the lesson right away. They come here and they have to learn again and again and again and again and again. They've repeated cycles and cycles and cycles. That does happen. There are certain souls that God is trying to choose. God is trying to raise them up out of the depths of the darkness. And because for some reason they have a royal bloodline or he loves them or likes them or whatever, but it's like they keep coming back to judgment, coming back to judgment, back to judgment, back to judgment, and the reset button gets pressed, and they're like on their 10,000th try. It's been game over, game over, game over, game over, game over, and they still haven't progressed to the next level. That can really mess up a soul. I mean, for real, because they're high level, but for whatever reason, they're down in the ditch. They're doing that dirty. See, this is somebody trying to strip another person's chosen energy. And again, remember what I said? They keep coming back to judgment and having to come again and again and again and again. And that's literally how they incarnate. That's literally the cycle. I'm telling you. So this is a chosen child that keeps falling out of grace. And that's really what we're here to do. We're here to be that forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Pray for our enemies. To be an example we're following, a story we're telling, to live a life of attraction, not promotion. To not have to go around educating people, judging people, but just to love on them no matter what. And to fulfill our mission and to live our sacred duty by entering the calling on our life, which is to go out and spread love and create value. That's what we came to the world to teach, is unconditional love. That's why we incarnated here. That's what we came for. And that's the secret we need to discover here. Unconditional love. I think we had the card was called compassion. Because there are hater assholes. Love, hate. These people actually want to be us. But they're bottom of the barrel. We have a double 5 here. They're lame, they're limp, they're loser, they're on some kind of, they're having to take an L, or they've been depleted, or something is dissipated. Any of those adjectives will apply. It just depends on the situation. Oh, hunger in my heart. These are hungry demons, hungry ghosts. Another book on addiction by Gabor Mate. Open enemies, hidden enemies. 7 of Swords, 5 of Swords. When we have this unconditional love. So fake love, it's really love, hate. So these are trespassers. They're living in sin. They're pre-fallen energy. They've fallen out of grace for sure. So it has been an honor and pleasure to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. Again, my name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I was your oracle today, and I was sitting here to deliberate the findings for the new moon in Capricorn. This is the cycle of understanding the why. Understanding the calling on our life and our sacred mission here upon the earth. It's also a little bit about getting our own number and understanding why we're vilified, ostracized, targeted, attacked. We're understanding this cascading cacophony of compounding karma and the crossings, the conundrums that we come across and have to eventually overcome. Some cycle has ended where our glory is coming back to us, because we have never lost our glory, but we lost access to our gifts, some of them, because we were holding on to people, places, and things that we didn't need to. We were trying to give and be fair with people that we didn't need to. There are some people that we can just plant the seeds and then we need to turn away from. Because we're not able to take everybody with us where we're going, which is the divine, which is the promised land, which is the Ingading, which is the eternal paradise. But something's on the way. Our horizons are going to be broadened very soon. Very, very soon. But there needs to be some boundaries here, because there's people around us that really don't mean the best for us. They're open enemies or soon to be open enemies. They're hater assholes all the same. They're harmful. It's literally frenemy, love, hate energy. They might be trying to swap destinies. They might be trying to trick us up out of our spot. They're trying to steal our spiritual power, because they think they can do better with our life than we can. But if they could do better, they'd have our life. If you got to lie to kick it, if you need to steal to have it, it's not for you. And the reason it was taking a little longer for us is because we weren't lying, cheating, and stealing to get to where we're going. We've gotten to the root of who we are, what we're about, what's alive in us. New achievement unlocked. That's the name of this reading. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you. Thank you for allowing me a privilege to do so. Just a prayer for all those still lost out there to illusion, delusion, confusion, still trapped in the cycles of misery and embitterment or evil, sinister, and wickedness. May you be happy, may you be whole, may you be well, may you be at peace, may you get everything you ever wanted, starting with what you deserve. I pray that you return back to the resplendent grace of the divine with your steps ordered and your path illuminated. I hope, I wish, I pray for all those still lost out there that are unhealed, unawakened, left and lost in the matrix to return redeemed, asking for salvation and redemption. Until we meet again, until we read again, Namaste, Dandava, and Ashe. Again, my name is Serene Priestess Abossi. I'll be your oracle today. You can always like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation. Take good care. Bye-bye.